meeting of the Norwood City Council is hereby called to order. Please rise for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, is the body we congregate in these council chambers. We pray for thy divine guidance, that we may do all things well, according to thy holy will. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bonzall.
Present.
Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mrs. Stickley.
Here.
Mr. Blair.
Here.
Mrs. Hannerhan.
Here.
Mr. Sanker. Mr. Mumper.
We do have 5 members present, which is a quorum, so we will proceed. We'll move on to the letter that is the reason for calling this special meeting. Could you please read the letter from the mayor?
Dear Madam President and members of council, I am requesting that council have a special council meeting on Wednesday, October 5th, 2016 at 6 p.m. and go into executive session to discuss finances and contracts. If you have any questions regarding this matter, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Thomas F. Williams, Mayor, City of Norwood.
Mr. Clark.
I move that this letter be received and filed and we go into executive session to discuss finances and contracts.
Seconded by Mrs. Hannerhan. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bonzall.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mrs. Stickley.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mrs. Hannerhan.
Yes.
All members present voting aye. The motion carries. We will now go into executive session, so we ask that you would leave. We will come back into session after we are out of executive session, but only for the purpose of excusing absent members and to adjourn. There will be no other business taking place. Okay, we will move out of executive session and back into regular session. I'd like to note for the record that Mr. Sanker did come during our executive session. We had originally said he was absent. So we do have one absent member, Mr. Mumper, if someone would like to move to excuse him.
Yeah.
Mr. Bonzo, seconded by Mr. Sanker. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bonzall.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mrs. Stickley.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mrs. Hannerhan.
Yes.
Mr. Sanker.
Yes, sir.
All members present voting aye, the motion carries. Mr. Clark,
I move that we adjourn.
seconded by Mr. Blair. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bonzall.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mrs. Stickley.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Mrs. Hannerhan.
Yes.
Mr. Sanker.
Yes, sir.
All members present voting aye, the motion carries. This meeting is hereby adjourned.